All right, so let's get this going here. It looks like we're live. So, hello everyone. It is Latonia. I am the co-owner. I guess I technically am because my husband does help out quite a bit, so I guess I should give him some credit. But I'm the owner of Let's Write Life. Thank you for joining me today for Tip Tuesday. Let's Write Life is a company I started to empower self-development organizations and to partner with mental health professionals who are looking to incorporate journaling into their program. So if this is your first time joining me today is all about helping you, helping students who come through my programs, and helping anybody who has a passion for journaling to join me here every Tuesday for us to talk about journaling and explore all the different topics that come up in my everyday life so that I can empower you. So today's topic is coping with depression through journaling. So hi Anita. So Anna, we have some people joining us. So I'm just going to keep my other browser open, and I'll just read off the comments so that you can be in the loop with us. Welcome guys. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. It is 1:30 p.m. I do the broadcast every week on Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. So if you're watching the replay and it is not 1:30 p.m., you are definitely watching the replay. So please leave a comment so that I know you came and that you're here, and so that I know that what we had to say was empowering to you. So I have a co-host with me today, a good friend of mine who I'm really just beginning to know. And even before really knowing you, Anna, I already loved you. We just have these spirits that I just feel like connect, as though we've known each other for a long time. And so I have invited Anna to be a part of our conversation today. So hey Anita, how are you this afternoon? Thanks for joining.
Hi, Anita.
Be sure if you're watching, guys, share this post with your friends, because we're going to actually just jump right on into it, because, you know, once we start talking, the time just flies right on by, and then we got to jet out of here because Anna and I both have kids to pick up after this broadcast. You guys know. So Anita is saying hi, Anna.
Oh, hi,
If you
Anita.
want to pull it up on your phone, that may help. I don't know, actually, if you'll see the comments. I don't know, but...
Yeah, I see the comments.
Okay, good. All right, so let's get started here. So I wanted to actually start by letting you guys know this week, this Saturday, is the final in-person, I guess I should say, vision board party based off the Choose Happiness Journal. So if you haven't registered for the party, please go over to letswritelife.com and register. Get your party passes. This is going to be an ultimate event for you to bring your vision board to life, or just to reconnect with it if it's already begun to collect us this year. We're going to bring them out and we're going to revive them, renew, refresh, restore, refocus on our goals and the things that matter to us so we can keep moving forward. I'll have a link with this video so you can check out the details about the event. But there are like very limited spots. I have 12 people attending, and it's actually more people that I have space for already, but I'm still leaving it open because I know there's still some people who want to join. So be sure you check out that link. So let's get into it. I guess I want to just start by introducing my co-host here, who is Anna, and I'm actually going to let you take the wheel and go ahead and introduce yourself and just tell us your background.
Definitely. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. I was so excited.
Thank you.
First time live. I was just telling Latonia, I was like, ah! So she said I was going to be ejected after this. We'll see.
Yeah.
Technology lets us survive.
Technology. You guys know how I am with this technology. I try, right? Tell her that I try. You guys watch me fumble.
Better, so. And thank you so much. I'm like, you know, we were definitely connected even before. Like, we would just see each other, and it's like we knew each other forever. Like, our hearts were just definitely connected. We're like, we vibe on the same level.
Yeah. So you can always appreciate somebody like that.
I know. They're hard to come by. You're like, okay. But my name is Anna Yobiojo. I am currently a scholar coach as well as a program coordinator. I work with college students right now. Who lack a support system while they're in college. Prior to that, I was a therapist for children and young adults. I did in-home therapy, and I would go into different homes. I worked in the Brockton area, so Brockton area and surrounding area. working with families who had children who had a severe emotional disturbance. So many of them had ADHD, depression, anxiety, some sort of diagnosis, and we worked with the families to help them understand the children's diagnosis and how to help them cope. I also did outpatient therapy in schools in the Boston area, and I'm no longer practicing, but I do need a clinical background to do the work that I do because some of our students have difficult backgrounds to deal with. And I also struggled with depression myself, so I have both the professional and personal perspective when it comes to dealing with depression.
Yeah. And so I had asked Anna to be a part of this conversation with me this month because I know this is something we both share. And because of your experience as a therapist, I thought it would be great to kind of bring you in because last month I found myself in a really discouraged place. And you know what? I wanted to, Oh, you know what? I'm just going to read it right up here. I'm like, I know I wrote this down and I wanted to just kind of share it. So last month was rough for me. I was going through so many challenges with goals, having difficult conversations with things, with for certain situations that were bothering me. And I had lots of events lined up, and I feel like this was the biggest factor here, which is why I'll mention it. I had a lot of events lined up for March, but then March ended up being this crazy month of last minute winter storms that needed to just fit themselves in. And so pretty much all of my events were canceled. And so there was birthdays, there was lots of events going on that I felt like I couldn't really afford. And then I had goals, mental goals that I wanted to achieve that I could no longer achieve in the way that I had envisioned. And then the things that were bringing me joy, or usually bring me joy, I no longer could do because they were all canceled. And I'm saying this now because I know these are the things that contribute to that place of discouragement that I was feeling. But while I was going through it, I was not sure what was going on. I could just feel myself just falling down and down into a sadness to the point where I almost couldn't pull myself out of it. So last month I was sharing with you guys that I literally got online only to do the broadcast, and that's it. Like, I didn't really post. I wasn't doing anything live, anything outside of just doing the broadcast to get them done because it was the only thing I could bring myself to do. And then offline, I was just spending a lot of time journaling, prayer, and just taking care of myself mentally so that I could feel empowered again. And it literally took me a good 3 weeks to kind of get over the wave that I was in.
Yeah.
And so I end up getting to a point where I was journaling. And every time I would open my journal, I do a lot of scrapping in my journal, like a lot of putting, hey, Joanne, thank you for joining. But I end up putting lots of scraps into my journal, photos, words of encouragement, things to kind of lift my spirits. And every time I would go to journal, those things would make me happy or help me to feel encouraged again. But it almost seemed like those things weren't enough. And I was saying to myself, wow, am I feeling depressed? Is this depression that I'm feeling? And then I remember looking at my vision board one day, and I'm looking at it now. I don't have it set up to show you guys today, but I'm looking at it because I have it here. And I started to read some of the words that I have been writing into my vision board so far this year. And some of the words say, never give up, break out, stand up for what you believe in, I can do this. And then there's one that says, you can, end of story. And I just started to just read these things out loud. And underneath those words, there's a picture of my face kind of looking up towards the sky, almost like just looking up towards hope. And I could feel myself saying, LaTonya, that is your truth. And the more I looked at it, the more I read the words back to me, the more I began to let those words speak louder than my negative thoughts. And I was
Mm.
ultimately beginning to realize, you know what? This is depression setting in on me. I think this is depression. And I started to fight against it because I kind of knew what it was. Because I had already felt this, but I haven't felt depressed in a while. And I came out of it. I decided to go get my hair done. I decided to start talking back to friends because I'm like, whoa, I'm not going to let these patterns of depression start to capture me or imprison me. And
Yes.
before I knew it, I realized, wow, this is so powerful. The journaling, the vision boards, the words that I tell myself, the words that I write, the anchors that are around me, just having the tools, like I love what you shared yesterday, having these tools, these anchors I call them in my life that always help me to bounce back. So it's not like I'm just getting online, sharing my life around journaling. It's something that actually is real. It
Yes.
becomes real all the time that confirms for me that this is something that works. And I'm not just saying it just because I like to journal. I'm saying it because it actually helps me. And so
Yes.
coming out of March, I wanted to talk about depression, get back to the basics of journaling and what it is for those of you who are joining that maybe haven't been following along on all my broadcasts up till now, but to share this as a piece of encouragement for why and how journaling can be important to your everyday life and how vision boards can play a role in that. And the question that I had coming into April was, you know what? I want to start to ask therapists, mental health professionals, this question that I asked myself coming out of that rough March that seemed dark and discouraging to me. I was like, you know what? Does depression come back? Do you ever really get rid of it? And so this was the question I wanted us to talk about today. What are your thoughts on that? Does depression ever really go away?
So, we were talking yesterday about depression being like on a spectrum. Some people experience
Yeah.
it a lot more severely, and some people it's mild. And then there's an aspect of just mental health in general that's dealing with with life's lows and feeling sad, and you feel like you're depressed, but you're just sad. Like there's a difference and there's a spectrum. I
Yeah.
I don't want to say that it goes away because some people might interpret that as, oh, it's a phase, it'll go away on its own.
Yeah.
I do believe that it can be healed, and I'm a my life, I that is me. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
like spiritually and practically, like I fasted and prayed, and for a very long time, but then I
Mm-hmm.
also put practical stuff into place. I went to therapy and I did the work. I did the
Yes.
journaling, which it helped me so much because there's so much inside, and you just have to get it out. And sometimes you don't trust. Therapy is once a week, 1 hour, and then there's so
Yeah.
many hours and you're like, who do I talk to? And sometimes you don't trust certain people, or you don't know
Yeah.
who to confide in, and and there's such a stigma when it comes to mental illness, so you really don't know who to talk to or who to approach. So journaling is like that safe space to just let it all out. And I can
Yeah.
see, like, I have a whole box with a lot of my journals, not the one from my teenage years that I burned. But as I got older, I saved them, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much growth. I can see like the person I
Yeah.
was before and the person that I am now. And like journaling just helps so much in any aspect. Like when you're going through a difficult time, you literally can visually see like the negative thoughts that are in your mind, and there's power to crossing them out and then replacing them with positive ones. You know what I mean? So there's power in
Yeah.
literally seeing them and crossing them out. Um, and it's like cognitive. I forgot the actual clinical term, but it's like
Yes.
it's an actual intervention that therapists use. And then there's, even when you don't have a mental illness, still going through your goals and who you want to be in life, or certain beliefs that you have about yourself. Once you write them down, you're like, oh, that's wow, I can't believe that's how I think, or that's how I thought. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so powerful. I definitely think though that it can be healed, but there's that preventative aspect. So I still go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I have no symptoms of depression whatsoever. And that when you've been there,
Yeah.
right? And then you're like, then people are like, how do you know? And I'm like, well, I know because I had these thoughts that were uncontrollable. I didn't even want to be alive. to now where I'm like, I feel bummed and I feel sad, and I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? But then there's the preventative measures, like what do you do to make sure that you are mentally healthy? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm physically healthy and things like that. We think that because we're not sick, that we're healthy. Well, that's not the reality of it. Are you well? Are you at your maximum health?
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said. There was a lot of things that depression, I think you said it's a system or that they're spectrum.
Spectrum.
Yeah, that
Yes.
there's a spectrum that
Yeah.
you can experience depression or sadness on a mild level, and then if it's not dealt with or you're not having any solutions to cure that sadness, it may turn into a severe experience with depression, and then severe maybe lead to suicidal experiences where depression turns to suicidal thoughts and things like that. So there's different levels of it. I'm glad that you mentioned that there, and that it doesn't necessarily go away, but
Right.
that there are tools and things that you could do to cope with it. And so that's
Exactly.
where journaling comes in. And I'm glad that you mentioned, seeing a therapist, because sometimes there is a stigma. I was actually just talking to someone the other day, and we were just having cordial conversation, and she just kind of shared that she was seeing a therapist, but the way she said it was almost like, uh, I
Like
can't even
shame.
like put the words on it. Almost like I it shameful a little bit. Maybe that's like maybe a little shame to say that she was seeing a therapist. Whereas for me, when I hear if someone's seeing a therapist, it's kind of like, well, great, you're taking the first step to get the help that you need, and that shouldn't be something you should be ashamed of.
Right.
And I just want to have this out in the open because, of course, that's what we're working to do with being able to help others. So actually, I have a question for you. Of course, I gotta go way down. Let me see. So, what has been your experience with therapy?
So, oh, I'll be honest, right? So
Okay.
I started going to therapy when I was in grad school. I mean, I don't know how to be anything else but honest. No more.
Yeah.
So I went to therapy when I was in grad school. And I was like, if I'm going to be a therapist, I got to be in the other seat, and I know that I have some unresolved issues. And at
Oh
that
yeah.
know like really what my diagnosis was because I also had PTSD. Um, so I went to a few different therapists. There was one that knew like some of my family members, and although I know like I was studying to be a therapist, so I knew that there was a confidentiality and all of this, I didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I was like, next. Then I had another therapist. There's a 45-minute, rule or whatever. And so she looked at the clock. There was a clock behind me, and I was like full mode, like crying. She looked at the clock. She's like, is that all? And I said, yep. I was like, no, ma'am. So, I went through, and I share that because there's so many people that are like, it's
Oh,
difficult to find a
it
therapist. Like,
really is.
a good therapist is so hard to find.
It's so hard to find. And just in
Yeah.
hearing you, at least, you're able to say that you didn't give up. And sometimes
Yeah.
people give up because they're tired of looking, and they don't think it helps because of the experience that they had in the few people that they were able to meet, and they just kind of end it.
Yeah. And it's a process. I mean, the entire process to be healthy in general. Um, so even for example, like I'm thinking about being physically ill, and they give you a diagnosis, and you're like, well, you take it, as opposed to doing the work to get a second opinion. And I know it's a pain to go to different doctors and all these different things and to search. I mean, who has the time really to just, insurance companies and doctors' office, they just keep you on the phone forever. So it is time consuming. And then
Yeah.
going to therapy, especially the intake, which is the initial visit, it takes so long, and they pry, And then if you have to do it over and over again, that becomes exhausting too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's part of the experience. And once you get through the first few weeks where it's like you're building rapport and building a relationship with them, and you find a good therapist, you're like, what? Like, I tell everybody, I'm like, therapy is so awesome. People are like, why are you still going to therapy? And I'm like, because it's awesome.
Oh, that is awesome. That's so good to hear. So I hope that you guys are watching. You're just encouraged by just what we're sharing here. Maybe you haven't met someone who's had a good experience with a therapist, but just wanted to just share a little piece of that. I know our time is really going by, but I wanted to at least share little nuggets for things that people can do to cope with depression. So we talked about journaling. We talked about therapy. And so the next thing I want us to talk about is the importance of self-care and self-love. You know, I know for myself, in order for me to have overcome my depression, I had to stop letting others be responsible for my happiness. And in order for that to happen, I had to realize what made me happy for me outside of everybody else's opinion, outside of what anybody else thought. And in my journal is where I was able to just be real with myself, be honest with myself, without anybody's opinions or judgment interfering with the way I was feeling, whether it be good or whether it be bad. And so when we talk about our coping with depression toolkit or anchors that will help us overcome, self-care is a huge, huge part of that. And so I know, Anna, you had last night decided, you know what, we have a conference that's coming up next week, Anna and I, that we're both going to be involved with. And I literally told her last week I had to get out of here. I just went out to a hotel just with my family to just hold on to those pieces of peace that I need in order to move into the next few weeks that are going to be so overwhelming. And I know in order for me to keep myself charged, I have to do things like this in order to maintain the joy and the happiness, keep my balance. So last night, you got to go to yoga. And so how did that do for your mental joy?
Listen, I was so happy / jealous that you got to go away to a hotel. I was like, I should have done that too.
You know, when it's one of those things that's in my toolbox. When I start to feel really stressed, when I start to feel overwhelmed, I have no problem putting a stop on life. I used to tell myself, you know what, I don't have the money for this, or I can't travel the way I want to, I can't do these things. And you know what, I know what matters to me now. And you spend your money and you spend your time on things that matter to you. And so for me, I've decided these are the things that make me happy. So whenever I feel myself losing it a little bit, it means that these things that make me happy are not happening. So I have to incorporate those things into my life so I can refocus, so I can get back on track without life happening and throwing me off.
You said it perfectly, like life happening, because life is going to happen regardless. But if you're not centered, life is really going to happen to you, and you're not going to be able to see it really with clarity, like what's going on in your life. And so yesterday, I told you, I felt really overwhelmed. I have so much work to do.
I know.
Preparation for the conference, because I'm taking time off, and the conference itself, I'm like, we have so much stuff to do. And then, at home.
Yes, family life balance, everybody else's schedules. Even just making food is beginning to be just like so much these days.
I know. So yesterday, my husband cooked. Yay, hubby.
Yay, good.
So, and I was like, I'm going to go to yoga. And he's like, okay. So
we're getting lots of hearts and thumbs up. Thank you, guys. This makes sense to you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you have questions, please let us know. We have a few minutes left. But yeah, the importance of self-care. So something you do, yoga.
Yeah, so I went to hot yoga with a friend too. It's like
and inviting supportive friends.
Exactly. Connecting with people is so big because we can isolate ourselves, and that makes things. And sometimes you need alone time. So identifying whether you need to be around people or you need to be alone. That's a huge one for me, because I need a lot of alone time, and I don't get alone time because I'm always with people and around people. So sometimes I'm like, I can just sit there and meditate, listen to music. But yoga is definitely a huge one for me.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. You guys who watch these videos, you think I'm social, which I am, but you guys, I am really an introvert. And part of my self-care is
Yeah.
alone time, which is why the month of March, I was out. I wasn't online. And it's so funny because when I came back online, a lot of people were like, wow, Latonia, where were you? You weren't, in your normal rhythm. I didn't see you posting. And it's like, because I need that alone time in order to care for myself. It's almost like you can't pour from an empty cup. What good
That's
am
my
I
favorite
if I
thing
get
ever.
on here and I'm the one who's depressed all the time? What good am I to you?
Yeah, I
And
know.
then for the moment that I was like, whoa, I'm really feeling discouraged and I'm feeling sad and I can't pull myself out of this. And then looking at my vision board is kind of what gave me that opening, that door of hope that kind of made me realize, whoa, is depression setting back in? And gosh, depression really doesn't go away. This is kind of like something that needs to be I forget the analogy we used yesterday, almost like when you're sick. You get sick, you get a cold, colds
Yeah,
come and go.
and
Yes,
go.
they
Yeah,
go away, but they could come back. And so
right. You
depression
have
is
to see
similar
them.
in
Yeah.
that way where you can be fine for some time, then all of a sudden a virus comes. Maybe you've
Mm,
experienced hurt in your life. Maybe somebody is speaking negative, you're experiencing negative abuse. Maybe you're
right.
experiencing rejection. These are like viruses of the cold of depression.
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
those triggers, when those viruses come that affect you mentally, it may
Mhm.
trigger depression to pop up even
Yeah,
though you haven't experienced it in months. So I like
yeah,
how he said, like, does depression ever go away? The way to
yeah.
think about it is really to think about it in form of a cold. Colds do
Mhm.
come away, but with the wrong virus, it could come back, and you need to have systems in place to treat the viruses of your mental clutter. And right now we're in spring, so I like the thought of, we're making our vision boards, we're decluttering our minds of just the mental clutter, cleaning up. We do our spring cleaning because we know the
Yeah.
pollen season comes. We need to clean our windows
Mhm.
out. We need to clean out the dust so we can stay healthy. And it's the
Yeah,
same thing when you're
yeah.
journaling, when you're writing, when you're doing self care, things that enable your well being, things for you to feel refreshed in life. All of these things really do contribute to tools in your toolkit, like Anna has said, to be able to cope with depression and be able to move forward with life. Let me read some of the comments. So Nadine, thank you so much for joining. So she's saying, I'm so appreciating you both for sharing. Oh, I'm so glad. And then
Freedom.
Nadine is also saying, yes, thankful. Mindfulness is so real. It really, really is. And
Yeah.
she's saying, have you all heard about yoga that is designed for folks that have experienced trauma in their life? Oh my gosh.
Yes. I
When
have.
you're
I
looking
haven't
for
tried it,
things,
but
oh, good. Yeah. And even I work with a nonprofit over in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. I know some of you guys are not in Massachusetts, but they have a thing called holy yoga over there, where it's kind of like yoga and journaling. And
that's
so
awesome.
whatever tool, yeah, there's so many great tools. I actually did a nature walk this past week with journaling, and I have the video that's still up on, it was just this past week actually. And there's so many things that you can do. And this is why I like to share about journaling, because people, or even yoga for that matter, people
Yeah.
don't realize there's so many facets to what you could do with yoga. Yoga is not just yoga, it's an
Right.
experience.
Yes.
Journaling doesn't have to be just writing on a page. It can be an artistic expression. It can be an
Right.
experience with nature. It could be reflecting on life. It could be I don't want to say reflecting on your future, but maybe writing and declaring and writing the
Yeah.
story of your future, forward
Yeah.
thinking, being proactive rather than reactive to life.
Right.
All
Right.
of these things can be so much more than just what they look like at face
On the
value.
surface. Right, exactly. Even like self care, so many people think it's like, oh, I have to go to the spa and I don't have money for the spa. And I'm like,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
oh,
girl, look at
oh,
this.
I know.
Self-care. I'm telling you. Now, I got my
Yeah.
nails done this time
Those are
because
so
my
cute.
sister's baby shower just passed and she treated me. But
Those
her
are
getting my
cute.
nails done actually made me realize, wow. Now, I'm somebody who really loves doing my nails. And since March through now, I totally forgot about doing my
Yeah.
nails, or it just slipped my mind, and it made me realize, wow, I let something slip through the cracks that I used to love doing. Like literally every week or every 2 weeks, I buy my own nail polish, and
Yeah.
it's part of my quiet time, something I'm doing for
Yes.
myself. Even though
Something
I
that you're
didn't
doing for
get it
yourself. That's the
professionally
key.
done, it's that
Yeah.
time spent caring for myself, doing something that makes me feel beautiful. Because
Yes.
that's something I'm still self-conscious about. The way I look, the way I dress. You guys probably think I look good. I know. Thank you so, so
You
much.
look
But
beautiful. You
guys,
do. I was like,
I am
come
just
on, honey, with your pink
trying.
on.
I am just trying. And these little things that seem like they don't matter, they really do if
They
you're
do.
focusing on yourself and trying to move forward in what makes you happy in life. So I share the nails thing because literally it's just going, buying your own nail polish, and just having fun, being creative, and
Right.
enjoying your own quiet time at home.
Just self-expression. Yes, Nadine, free 99 to go on a nature walk. We're all looking for new stuff. You know what's
Absolutely,
funny?
right?
Well, not funny. One of the things that I love to do that's free is going to the library. That is
Yeah.
that's
I
like
love
my
going
mental
to
escape.
new libraries too.
Really, just to see like the design and
Yeah, and because of course I want to be alone. So it's like just meeting new people, or just feeling like I don't have to be seen in my local library. Just being able to
oh,
explore. So I actually go to libraries outside. Sometimes it all depends on my moods. I go to college libraries a lot too.
yes. Yeah, I was gonna say it all depends on your mood, like what you need. And I was gonna say one of the things is like the integration of mind, body, and soul. So you really have to
Yes.
assess like what is it that I need. So last night, I mean, I had a headache. Like I physically just felt off, and I knew that my body needed something. Not, and I was sick for a week, and I usually go to the gym in the morning, and I
Uh-huh.
have that time to myself. But I knew I didn't need anything like lifting weights or doing cardio like heavy. I needed yoga physically, but
Mental.
also mental. You know what I mean? I needed that mental clarity that yoga brought. So I really had to like, okay, so what do I need? Mind,
What's
body, soul.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
what's
need to
feeding?
read
I
a
wrote
book.
down
Right.
what's feeding your mind, what's feeding your
Yes.
body, what's feeding
Yes.
your soul. It's so, so
Yes.
true. I
You said you're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Oh, shucks.
Encouragement goes a long way,
It
people.
sure
Make sure you're
does.
encouraging your friends and family today. My
Girl.
goodness.
Hi, Nadia.
Oh, thank you, Nadine. She says you are beautiful. Awesome. I'm so glad. You guys enjoying the broadcast? We're actually going to be getting off in a little bit now. I was just going to mention one last thing for self-care as you're working toward coping with depression through journaling. A journaling prompt for you guys today. So, what can you put in your toolkit, like Anna has shared with us today, to empower your ways that you can cope with depression? Just make a list of about 10 things you can do so that when you find yourself in a dark place, you can turn back to this list and be reminded of ways that you can pull yourself out. So let's try to come up with the few that we kind of shared today, and I'll start with the 5 that I can think of. We talked about journaling, letting this be a place where you can be yourself, be authentic, and express the way you feel. We mentioned talking with others is helpful. We talked about seeking a therapist and knowing that even if the first time doesn't work, don't give up. Keep trying to find the therapist that works for you. I liked what we both have shared, identifying the times when you need to be alone. Because
Yes.
for us introverts, that is a part of who we are. And if we don't get that alone time, we're not able to think. We
We're
may not
drained.
feel may not feel strong. We may feel weak because confusion makes us feel discouraged, and negative thoughts will set in because we haven't been able to build ourselves up with our own alone time. And then I was going to add this one in, taking baths. I know some people don't take baths. Maybe
Right,
it's a
baths.
shower. But you guys, I tell you, when I decided I was going to do more for my own self-care, I decided I was going to go on over to Bath and Body Works or just anywhere, Home Goods, TJ Maxx, and just buy what looked like a luxury candle.
Yeah.
So I could feel like I was at a spa at home. And I
Right.
decided I was going to just change my shower curtain that I had not changed in at least 7 years.
The little things.
Changed my shower curtain, got like 2 just nice looking candles, and then I got a body wash that made me feel like I was taking care of myself. you know, and I would basically just turn the lights off, put my phone in my bathroom to just play some instrumentals or empowering music of whatever I chose, lit the candles, and just let myself just be in the shower, a quiet shower, simple, even if it's once a week or once every 2 weeks, just add it to your list. And I'll let Anna, you can add to the list of things you thought of that you can fill your toolkit with for coping
Hi,
with
Perkins.
depression. Hey, Herkins.
I was gonna say I love baths, and I do like a lot of detax baths. Even with the kids, like I use baking soda.
Oh,
Epsom salt in the
good.
dollar store.
Yeah.
Put some peppermint oil. I put peppermint oil for myself, and it gives me energy. So I give the kids lavender oil because they need to go night night.
Calm.
They need to relax. And anybody that knows my kids,
I'm gonna do that. Oh my
yes,
god.
girl. Listen, and it helps like with just the toxins, release toxins, but also helps build up their immune system.
So
Yeah, I was just gonna read this.
yeah,
one.
read it.
But my biggest struggle is self-care when caring for young kids. Yes, so Nadia has.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yes, Nadia's actually my roommate from college.
Oh, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining, Nadia.
That's one of the biggest struggles too. So what I do, Latonia has kids too, Nadia. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and so you have to find what works for you. I go to the gym from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Yeah, healing water, breathing during bath and showers. Yes.
Yes.
So, I go to the gym from 5 to 7. And people are like, you go to the gym for 2 hours, but this is what I do at the gym. I work out for 30 minutes and then go in the sauna. So that heat, I love the heat. I'm Dominican. I can't deal with, this weather. So I love the heat.
Our Boston weather, for those of you who aren't local.
Oh, yeah, our Boston weather.
Our long winters.
Listen, it's
our winters that turn to long rainy springs.
I know. It's like nice for like 4 weeks. I don't know.
Seriously.
But I go in the sauna and I just love the heat. And then I haven't seen her lately, but there's a 75-year-old woman who, I should say an older woman. I shouldn't say her age.
Yeah.
But she's like the sweetest lady, and she asked about my kids and just like engaging with her. She's at a different phase in her life where her kids are out of the house, and she's just so funny. One day I told her, I was like, "Oh, my house is a hot mess, and it's just driving me crazy." She's like, "You know what you're doing wrong? You have the lights on. Just turn the lights off and don't look at them." And just having those moments at 6 a.m. and then after that I have my quiet time. I sit with my Bible and my journal. So literally from 5 to 7 a.m., I spend that time by myself. I work out. I talk to my friend. I'm in the heat. And then I'm journaling and spending time with God before I get home.
Yeah.
And you're going, and it's a wrap. And some people, you just probably have to find, like, either doing it after work, at night, whatever it is that works for you to find, even if you start with 15 minutes. And it's going to be difficult because sometimes we feel like that mom guilt. Like yesterday going to yoga, I was like, I'm missing, bedtime.
Yeah, but hey, you know what I like to say? It's for a season. Like when
Exactly.
it's your season, when it's a time in your life where you're like, you know what, I just need to take care of myself, then you just let the season be what it is, you know? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be forever that, you know, where you're having this like, oh, all this time's for me every single day. It's not every
Right.
day, but you know, you do want to start
Exactly.
small with just one day or just 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And for me, I fit it in. I make sure this is how I work self-care into my life. And I literally started this the moment those kids came out of the womb. As soon as they got on a sleeping pattern, I put my kids to bed at 8. Not because they need to be in bed early. I put them
Yes.
in bed at 8 because I need
Yeah.
time before
Yep.
12 a.m. or in 11 at night to have time for myself. So
Yes.
my kids go to bed at 8 o'clock, and it's their routine. They've been doing it for years now. They know the deal.
Yep.
After 8 o'clock, that's
They know
mommy
the
and
deal.
daddy's time, and then
Yep.
my time. If I
Yes.
choose to have it be my time that night, and that's where my baths come in. That's when,
Yes.
you know, maybe I'll do my nails or do my journaling. And then early morning, and not every day, but there are some mornings that I do wake up and then I'll just have my own quiet on the weekends, really. On the weekends, I'll have quiet time in the morning before everybody wakes up. And it's kind of like I just have prayer time and I really, really love it. That's when I have my moments of gratitude. The
Yes.
mornings typically end up being I wake up and I'm just happy that wow, my husband woke up today, my kids woke up today, I woke up today, and I just start being thankful about that. So those little moments in the mornings, on the weekends, or during the week, that after 8 o'clock time is time that I just fit in. That if even if I don't get my own time, the window is there for me
Yes.
to have that time, because it can get really overwhelming just being a wife, being a mom, and then dealing with financial issues or you know the pressure from family or your in-laws, and you know just all of those things you deal with in your everyday
Girl.
life. Where do you have the time to just balance
Yeah.
and sort
Yeah.
out those thoughts? And that's how I've been able to work it in for me.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, I feel so sad that we gotta cut this
I
broadcast
know.
down, but me and Anna, we gotta go pick up our kids. You
Gotta go
know,
get
we're
these
over here
babies.
balancing life and business
Right.
and work, and you know how you gotta get it done. You know what we gotta do to keep
These
things moving
babies.
forward. But thank you guys so much for I know, actually, Anna, did you happen to bring a favorite journal or your earliest memory? Maybe
Yes.
2 minutes for us to fit this in.
I
So
was
for
gonna
this
say.
broadcast, I wanted to have my special guest, Anna, to share with us her earliest journal or earliest memory of her journal, or I think something else, or your favorite journal. So which one did you
Yes.
choose?
So I brought two. I'm breaking the rules.
Okay, hey.
They're really simple. So this one's like from 2012, I believe. This one's the most recent one my friend bought for she bought for my birthday. So the reason why I like both of them is because I was a completely different person in 2012. I had two children. That's when I was going to grad school, and I was just reading the thoughts. Like I tried really hard to be positive for myself because I've always been a positive person for other people, but for myself, I was just so negative. I mean, I was severely depressed, and I had a dark cloud, and so I saw how I worked out these things, and I saw a glimpse of hope, and then just darkness, and just I saw the transformation, and then seeing in this journal now, so many of my dreams are like coming to fruition. I'm like, oh my goodness, and it's really because of the person that I've come to be. Like I've transformed into this person that, I'm getting it done. You know what I mean? Because before
Yeah.
I just had hopes and dreams, but I had so many limiting beliefs, and I was just so in my head. And so I see the transformation of like how I had to peel the layers of who I had become because of life situations, and then peel the layers and do the work to become the person that I am today, and that I'm transforming into being the person that God's created for me to be. So those are my two journals.
Oh, I
Sorry, I
love
broke the
that.
rules.
See how, hello there, Shayna. It
Hi.
is just awesome. I'm so glad that you shared the journals. And I always like sharing journals because sometimes it is nice to just go back, because that is when you're able to see how far you've actually come. Even for me,
Yes.
starting Let's Write Life. Man, when I was young, I used to say to myself, I want a stationary line. And the thing is, I just used to
Wow.
say it, not really believing it or really taking it seriously.
Right.
Now I have Let's Write Life, and I have 7 journals, and I'm designing things that people are using as tools to move forward in life. And you guys can check those journals out over at letswritelife.com.
Yes.
But I was saying this stuff in my journal long before I knew I was going to go through depression to bring me here.
Right.
And if I had given up, I wouldn't be who I am or where I am today. And so sometimes it's just so nice to just go back, look at those journals of where you were, and be able to say, it's time to let this journal go, and then keep the ones that remind you of the steps you took to move forward.
Right.
Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast today. Don't forget to do your journaling prompt, making a list of things that you could add to your kit, your anchors of things to help you overcome depression from what we talked about today. Be sure to check out my upcoming events. The Vision Board Party is this Saturday for those of you who still would like to come. And there is a $7 download right now for those of you who maybe don't know how to get started with journaling. I put together a list of 30 life questions to awaken your personal growth, which is what this month has all been about. Being able to ask yourself thought-provoking questions that will lead you toward moving forward through positive life change. So you could go check that out on the website as well. It's only $7, so definitely make an investment in yourself, make an investment in me and what I'm doing to help you. I want to stay around for a while, you know. So thank you guys for watching today. I think that's everything. Thank you so much, Anna, for joining me. I hope to see you doing some live broadcasts coming soon.
Oh, girl, I kind of like this. I might do some now.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Anna, just hang on. And then for those of you who are joining, we'll see you next week for May, which is all about defining what choose happiness means to you. So stay connected, okay? Because that's what May is going to be about. I have a journaling workshop that's actually going to be all about choosing happiness and defining what that means to you. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. See you soon.